All right, we are live. What is up, fight nerds and dirty gamblers? I am Erik, and this is Erik Bets Fights. Looks like we do have a few folks in the chat. Thanks so much for being here for my first. I've done a couple live streams, but I haven't actually scheduled one yet and kind of invited people to it. So this is my coming out party a little bit in that regard. Thanks so much for coming to what is the third episode of a new show that I'm calling Big Money Bets. And I don't want to make too much of this, but I'm seeing Big Money Bets as like it's a little bit more than just a show. Big Money Bets is a party, and let me tell you what I mean by that. So like it's Thursday night, the fights are less than 48 hours away, and I was sort of thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about the way the week plays out for MMA gamblers and content creators. We've done our tape study, we've done our research, we've taken the time looking at the stats, we've probably already made our our money line bets, the bets where we're making calculations, we're trying to make the smartest decisions that we can. Those are the bets where we're not necessarily getting a huge return on our investment, but those are the smart bets, the bets that we have to make. We're chipping away, we're grinding away, making that money, climbing the leaderboard on Bet MMA Tips or whatever it might be that we're looking to do. But as we creep up on the end of the week and we've spent the time putting those bets in, then it's time to party a little bit, gang, right? Then it's time to get a little bit stupid. And that's what this show is about. This show is about putting out some big money props and parlays, the kind of thing where, they're low percentage. They're not going to hit a lot of the time, but when they do, you make a big return on your investment. So to be completely honest about it, this show is not necessarily for the careful gambler. If you've watched my shows before, I always end by saying, play it smart, play it tight, and let's grow those bankrolls. That doesn't really apply on this show. We're not playing it smart and playing it tight here. And with that in mind, I'm bringing a guest on my channel for the very first time. And really, you could not have a better guest, in my opinion, when it comes to throwing out some of these big money bets like that. So we're going to go ahead and bring him on right now, gang. He's the computer programming guru behind the MMA Engine. You probably know him as a bit of a prop guru around the area as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and bring him on, gang. Lou Betya, come on in.
Yo.
How you doing, Lou?
I'm doing good. Thanks for the intro. I am definitely a programmer. I don't know if I'm a guy who wins big money but I apparently hate money. And that's what makes me endearing to the community is that I throw around these crazy bets. But yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Like always like talking about fights, about Japanese wrestling, about any other nonsense throughout our day. Awesome memes.
Absolutely, dude.
And
here's the great thing about this show is that we don't necessarily have to worry about making money. I was gonna recap last week's bets, and then I decided not to do that because they all lost. But see, that's the thing about a props and parlays show like this is if I recap the entire last event, it's going to seem really negative a lot of the time because obviously these are low percentage bets. I put out 3 parlays and 6 props last time. None of them hit. There's the recap for you folks. So we're hoping that that's not going to happen again this time. But Lou, I think, most of the people in the chat here probably know you a little bit, but for folks that end up watching the video later, why don't you give us an idea of who you are and just kind of talk about what the MMA Engine is a little bit and what it can do for the community.
Sure. So I'm new to the content creation game, although in 48 hours, you might not think that with the schedule that I have coming up. But I work with like 3 geniuses. I work with Monk Maddox, MMA Wheezy, Uncle Wheezy, everybody's favorite uncle, and Brady, aka DFS by Numbers. We're the MMA Engine, and we're a good mix of we're a social media platform, but really we're a technology company. And I have been working really hard behind the scenes, trying to get this awesome platform together in terms, it's going to have, if you're a user, it has, your optimizer. It's going to have Wheezy's prop template. I don't know if you guys have watched the prop template show that he's been doing, Probability, but a lot of what Wheezy's been working on in terms of finding value on time props, like that's going in. I have a research center I'm building that's basically like automating my process, which I think is, it's like you're all in one like location for just keeping your stats, keeping notes, which is big, and some other cool stuff down the horizon. And if you're a content creator, Erik, you've seen this. I'm building a fight studio. It's just finishing, cross the T's, dotting the I's, where anybody that does YouTube videos can come in and you get access to all our data, and you can arrange it however you want. It's like a mix of the data streams and Adobe. Like, how do you want your stream to look? Do you want your notes? Do you want betting odds? Do you want to handle DFS? Like, I've come up with a way that will only evolve over time. The more people that use it, they'll say, hey, Lou, Rob, whatever I'm going by now, I don't even know anymore. What do you want? Like, what do you guys want? What are you guys going to use? And we're happy to build it for you. So a lot of good things come down the pipe. As far as this game itself, I'm more of a UFC fan than anything else, but I'm a long-term MMA fan. But I definitely have more gambling experience than most, as I'm one of the elder statesmen of the community. But let's make some bets, man. Nobody cares about the shit I'm talking about. Let me have a glass of wine. Let's make some bets.
I love it. I told
money. Let's go.
I told Lou before the show, he asked if he could have wine, and I said that was cool, and he said in a mug, and I said, please put it in something with a stem, and clearly he listened. So I told him this is a classy show. It's a classy party.
I am known for my class. So, like, you know what I have in common with yogurt, right?
Do tell.
Culture.
I love it. But yeah, folks, I have had a chance to poke around in the MMA Engine a little bit. It really is going to be an awesome thing for MMA gamblers and for the MMA gambling content creation community. So we're all pretty excited for that to come out. But for those of you who've never seen this show before, essentially, we give out a 2-leg parlay, a 4-leg parlay, a 6-leg parlay, and then we talk about some crazy props that we like. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into some of those things. Lou, since you're the guest, I'm going to let you pick. We'll talk about our 2-leg parlay first. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I defer always.
All right. So this is, a lot of the lines have been crazy. I mean, that's been one of the things that has been talked about a lot in the community lately, is that, like, the lines are getting blown up. So when you're this close to the card and you're trying to put together some parlays, it's kind of a difficult thing to do, because I want, on the 2-leg parlay, I want it to be pretty close to even money. If I'm going to be putting two fighters together, I don't want to put a couple minus 700s in there. So I tried to, these lines are a little bit blown up, but for my 2-leg parlay, I chose Martin Buday. I'm using lines from William Hill here. I picked Martin Buday at minus 230. He's one of my more confident picks on the card. And even though I don't love the line at minus 475, I picked Pat Sabatini. So my 2-leg parlay is Martin Buday, Pat Sabatini. It ends up paying minus 136. So we're not quite at even money, but we're pretty close there. What are your thoughts on that, Lou?
I'm laughing at what you picked. I'll tell you why in a second. But I want to just address one point you made. So when they had the Contender Series, the last season's Contender Series, these lines come out Monday night at like 7, 8 p.m. By 9 p.m., they're blown out. Like, it's a minus 300s, minus 1,000 at this point. It was crazy. And we really hadn't seen that to that extreme in the UFC until, I feel like, the last 2 or 3 months. But now, because Raev, Wheezy got him at like minus 280, and then he goes off at what, minus 1,200?
Yeah.
I mean, it's insanity right now. So it's you gotta. I don't like betting early in the week, because I like the stream of information I get as the week goes on. And I like the weigh-in. The weigh-ins matter to me. I mean, look, in all fairness, they cost me some money last week. I took Aspen Ladd because she looked good, and that was stupid. But anyway, so I have the same 2 fighters as you.
For real?
But, and I understand that, like, when you're building a progressive parlay, you want to get like that even money. But I mean, look, I have Buday in the distance at minus 165. By the way, also, I do have a real life friend named Martin Buday. So shout out.
He told me that. That's crazy.
So shout out to Marty if he's watching. My guy. That was minus 165. These are from DraftKings.
Nice.
So Buday in the distance, minus 165. Look, if he wins the decision, I deserve to lose that one, to be honest. And then I took Pat Sabatini by submission because I'm just, and maybe this is Philly bias, all in all fairness, but I don't like Laramie's layoff. I don't like that he's coming off. I mean, Minner's win condition is I have to win in 2 minutes before I gas. And he beat him in less than 2 minutes because he didn't gas. And I like what I'm seeing from Sabatini. I like what I'm seeing from that gym. He's training with Brady every day, like not my Brady, but Sean Brady. And I just like what I'm seeing. His striking's getting a little better. But his grappling, he came in against Tristan Connolly and he didn't get a finish, but that's nerves. But he dominated the whole fight. I mean, and he's getting more confidence. He's getting his feet wet. And I think this guy's a future threat. And I like the sub. It was plus 175. So as much as I wanted to get to even money, and on any other card, maybe I could have, I got to plus 341 with the first 2. And I just want to throw one disclaimer out in that if you look at some of the juice favorites this week, it's hard to trust Bueno Silva. It's hard to trust close, and parlaying close doesn't get you any money. It's hard to parlay Kinsey ad. I mean, I don't think she's going to lose, but like you're not really getting a lot of value with that money line, and at least Sabatini feels safe. So that's my 2 to start.
I love that. I love that you're doing some props, because I'm only giving out money lines simply because the books that I use don't let me parlay props, and I only want to give out plays that I can actually do. But that makes it more interesting because I'm only giving out money lines and you're giving out some props. So at least we're going to have kind of some different things going on here. But yeah, you're going to have much bigger plus money than I am. But I love that. And I think, I'm giving out the money lines. You're giving out the inside, the distance, and the sub there. I think those are quite likely to hit too. So I'm loving that.
And we're on the same page with the same 2 fighters. I think they both seem. I don't like rooting against Chris Barnett, but
yeah, right. I don't like rooting against him either, but he's probably going to lose. All right, gang, let's take a look at my 4-leg parlay. So then, of course, we're just building here, So we've got Boudet at -230, Sabatini at -475. Man, I had a hard time with this one. I know you told me that you stayed away from the women's fighters here. I mostly tried to do that, but I ended up going with Estela Nunes at -220. It does worry me a little bit. I do think there's a path to victory for Sam Hughes here, but yet we've never seen Sam Hughes use that path to victory. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think she's ever gotten a takedown in the UFC. If she cage pushes Nunes and looks for takedowns, she might have a path to victory here, but Nunes is much quicker, much more athletic, has much better movement. I think she's just going to be able to kind of move around and pot shot her. And then, just to kind of get a little bit of a higher payout on this one, I wanted to go with somebody that was kind of close to even money, and somebody that I feel pretty good about here. I went with Jesse Ronson at -115. So those 4 together puts me at +372. So after my 4, I'm finally up to about where you were at with your 2. Let's hear about what you've got for your 4-legger, Lou.
I might be getting to that Ronson Garcia fight a little later, but the next 2 I have is, so I love losing money on Miguel Baeza. Like I love it. I can't get enough of it. So I'm going to play this one a little differently. I don't really know what to make of Fiallo, but he did survive. He survived against Fajeda, but like if you look at his career, it's kill or be killed. So I like that fight to end in a KO. Don't care who. So Baeza gets it, great. He gets killed, awesome. Don't care anymore. Dead to me. But it's -115 for that fight to end in a KO. Again, Baeza may have some chin issues at this point. Maybe it's too much too soon, but I like that fight to end in a KO. And I am adding. This is a weird one for me because I battled how I wanted to do it, but I'm going to end up playing the Levitt-Ogden fight does not go the distance. It's -150. Those 4 get me to +1276. The quick reasoning behind that is simple. I know a lot of people are on Ogden this weekend. I get it. I've seen his tape. He looks good. Levitt is one of these guys. Maybe he's just going to keep defying the odds. I mean, he's one-dimensional, but his one dimension is okay. He does seem to have maybe some fatigue issues, though. So I think it's Levitt. I think this fight's going to be fought on the ground. Ogden's with Krause right now, so maybe they'll game plan it well. But Krause typically game plans he likes aiming toward the wrestling end of things. So I think we'll have grappling. Ogden's been submitted 3 times. That's what Levitt, seems to want to do. And Levitt has a suspect. His stand-up game, well, calling it suspect's really, it's like saying I have a suspect.
Non-existent.
So I think one way or the other, maybe Levitt can get him early, maybe I can get him late. But I like that fight not to go. That was -150, like I said. I got +1276 for the 4-teamer at this point.
Damn, dude, you're looking good. I love that Baeza Fiallo to end by KO. You said that was like -115?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Fiallo, we don't really know. This is one of those, I love that they say, oh, we took a short notice fight. We're doing you a favor. This is not a favor. This feels like not a favor.
Right.
But he seems to be tough. Baeza really, talking to Postman Mike, my guy the other day, and he's telling me, he's like, Baeza doesn't really check leg kicks. I'm like, yeah, Fiallo's just going to punch him in the face. I mean, a lot. And maybe one gets through. But, guys coming off knockouts, having a striking battle, I always get a little leery because it's a mental thing. So that's where I'm at with the 4-teamers so far.
I love it. Love it. All right, let's move on to that 6-legger. So just to go back again, we're looking at Martin Boudet, Pat Sabatini, Estela Nunes, Jesse Ronson. I ended up throwing Devin Clark in here at -165. I do think William Knight has a path to victory here. I've been looking at that William Knight by KO in round 1 prop, and thinking about that one. I haven't put anything on it yet, but this is one of those fights where I kind of think William Knight finding that KO and probably early is pretty much his best path to victory. I do think Devin Clark can probably have success with his wrestling here. He's one of those guys who does, he's got good wrestling, and he also will really look to push it. And he does have the cardio. He does have the tenacity to kind of keep pushing that and make that work for him. So I think if we see him really pushing the wrestling, he should find success there. And then I did throw one underdog in here. I ended up putting in Kevin Kroom at plus 150. I haven't bet him yet, but I do have some concerns about that, in that Kevin Kroom has, I think, 5% takedown defense or something like, or no, that's his takedown accuracy. His takedown accuracy is 5%. He's gotten 1 out of 18, but his takedown defense is only like 30% or something like that. So if Alateng does look to wrestle here, I think he could have success, but Kroom is going to be so much bigger. He's 6 or 7 or 8 inches taller or something. He's much, much bigger. And so even if Alateng does look to go to the wrestling, he might have a hard time moving around with a big guy like that, finding the takedowns on the big guy. And if it plays out in the striking, Kroom is going to have such a reach advantage, such a size advantage. And, I don't really think highly of Kroom's skill set, but he is a guy he's scrappy, he's tough, and he will put out volume. So I could see it being problematic for Alateng if it plays out on the feet like that. So I did put him in there at plus 150 to get that little underdog juice. And that puts me at plus 1796.
Nice.
Where are you at, Lou?
Well, we're going to finish at plus 5680.
Just to give you an
indication. So the last two I have are, I'm going with Jesse Ronson. If I like losing money on Baeza, I definitely like losing money on Rafa Garcia. He takedowns, he doesn't do much with it. Ronson, there's a lot of red flags at Ronson. It's weird. In a strange way, it reminds me of like the Levitt Sales fight, where I took Levitt really because all the things were against Sales. Like, he gained weight, had injuries, the layoff, everything. In this case, I like everything I see in Ronson's tape, and I don't know that Garcia I don't know if he's built for this, to be honest. Like, he's tough. Like, and I have another Ronson bet that I like. Oh no, I took that one off the board. I actually think Ronson's going to win by split decision, but that's not one of my favorite plays. I just think Ronson, it's, Garcia early, Ronson late, and I think Ronson could do damage. Garcia doesn't seem to do a lot of damage on the ground. So I like Ronson in the spot. It's even money pretty much everywhere. And then this is a tricky one for me. This is the winning condition, I believe, though, is Luque in the distance at plus 125. He could get a sub. I'm safer within the distance here. Man, this is a tricky fight, I think, in general. I know a lot of people like Belal Muhammad. I'm going to come at this with a weird angle for you that I don't think a lot of people have talked about. We're in Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Muhammad is adhering to like all the dietary, like he's, and the thing is, which I respect immensely. And like, this is not a religious statement or anything like that. It's really hard to feel good on fight day and properly rehydrate. And I know like they can, he even said like, he's going to break some of the rules, like not break the rules. It's coming into it. This is going to sound horrible. He's doing what he has to do to prepare himself for the fight. But that's just such an extra element. Like, you're already facing a very tough and very explosive guy who has knocked you out before.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's one element of this fight that kind of drives away from Muhammad. The other one is, if you look at Muhammad's fight history, he's fought 2 strikers in like the last 3 years. One was Wonder Boy, who is maybe starting to look old, which breaks my heart. He can't stop a takedown. The other one was Leon Edwards. And Leon Edwards, and I'm no Leon Edwards fan, but Leon Edwards was having his way for that eye poke. Like, he looked really good. And he hasn't fought anybody that I would call like a power striker in years. And Jeff Neal was the last one, I guess. And he lost that one. I just 5 rounds with Luque. And Luque's shown in the 3rd round, at least in fights, like that he's losing with Nico Price, that he's got cardio and can like summon it. I got to think within 25 minutes, Luque is going to hit that shot. I like both fighters a lot too. So this is a tough pick, but so that Luque in the distance brings me to plus 5680.
Love it. I'm gonna have to watch this back. I guess I can't even, with the books I have, I can't even parlay a lot of the stuff you're putting out there, but I love it. And I hope some other folks do.
Are you using Bet Online?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't let you parlay anything other than money lines. Like it's really I don't understand it. Like, I mean, it's cool they offer like every event ever,
Yeah.
but like they're really stifling my creativity in terms of what I want to bet.
And on William Hill, I'm able to parlay totals, but I can't. They don't even have any like props really on my William Hill app other than
can
totals.
you use BetMGM?
I'm not sure. I never have.
Check them out if you can, because they allow you to do all like the Lou nonsense, like all that Lou goodness on BetMGM.
I am a fan of that.
Oh yeah, they allow it.
Did I talk to you? I can't remember. Well, I guess you kind of had it anyway. Did I talk to you about putting together the risky parlay? But oh yeah, I did, because you said, don't worry, the one that I'm putting together is already the risky parlay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw mine out there then. For those of you who've seen the show before, last week, what I did is I put together like a bonus parlay, 4-legger parlay that I called the risky parlay, where I'm grabbing fighters that are, either underdogs or closer to even money. But yeah, Lou's risk is plenty high there, but I'm just going to throw that one out real quick. So the 4-legger risky parlay is Jesse Ronson at -115, Kevin Kroom at +150, Trey Ogden at -135, and Gadzio Margadziev at -135. And for that 4-legger, I get +1316. And I might actually play that one. I want to be clear. I don't actually necessarily play all the bets that I'm putting out on this show, some of them, but I might actually play that one.
I do.
Yeah. I love that about you.
Yeah. Like let's go.
Yeah. It's like, if we're going to take the time to come up with this stuff, we might as well do it. Right.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. So for the next part of the show, folks, this is where we're going to talk about some props a little bit. We're calling this highly improbable, like that little image that I put out on
Can
Twitter.
I be Kornheiser?
Absolutely.
All right, because I'm bald. I did cut my hair and like shave, by the way.
Oh,
I thought people were coming in. Well, I thought people were coming in the chat to like, you lying son.
I warned them you were going to be looking good, and you didn't let me down.
You lying rat bastards.
So what we're going to do here, gang, we're just going to talk about some big money props. I think we've got 6 of them each, I believe, and we're going to go through and we're going to start with the one with the smallest payout, and we're going to build up to the one with the biggest payout. So the first one that I've got on here, it pays out at +600, and I'm using the lines from Bet Online here since that's the book that I can use. I know that some of the other books have better lines on some of these. Usually Bet Online has the lower numbers for some of these big props. So like, for example, when I bet that draw last week, I got +6,600. Some other books had +8,000 on that. So you might even find better numbers than these on some other books, but I'm going to give out the Bet Online numbers just because that's the book that I use. But so my first one is +600. It's Andre Fialho in round 1 by KO TKO.
Ooh.
+600. And you already talked about it a little bit. I don't think that's a terribly unlikely outcome for that fight, really. So
that is a very strong path to victory for him.
Yeah. So
he's not subbing him.
Right. And we know Fialho is going to be headhunting. He's going to be putting out power strikes early. We know Baeza can get caught. I mean, it is not an incredibly unlikely path to victory there. So I like that one. What do you got for your first one, Lou?
You're going to feel good. Your first one has longer odds than my first one.
All right.
+425. I got Mr. Martin Budai round 2. I don't want to pick a winning condition for this one because I know he can get subs. All I can think of is, I mean, again, we're working with a limited data set, but I don't like Barnett's cardio. I don't think Budai is great, but I don't like Barnett's cardio. And I think maybe Barnett shoots his shot round 1. Budai feels his way out. And I just, much like the Rothwell fight, I think Barnett just nothing left after. And if this goes to the ground in the first, I could lose this bet easily. Or Budai could just like lay on him and eat it. Is that I think that's my buddy Tommy Loppin.
And that was +425, you said?
Yeah.
Budai round 2? I like it.
Not great. Sorry. I feel like that's a disappointing start.
It's not. I know you're going to.
For what it's worth, it's going to get better.
Yeah. I bet even though you started lower than mine, I bet if we add all of ours up, you're still going to win in the end. But we'll see. Yeah. All right. So for my second highly improbable prop for this card, I picked Kevin Kroom by KO TKO at +650. Now, like I said, I think if Haile Alateng does look to use his wrestling, he might struggle with the size. I don't know, but obviously Kevin Kroom's not a great wrestler. He doesn't have great numbers for his takedown defense or his takedown offense. So, he's going to have that size to work with, so he might be able to stuff those takedowns. But if the fight does end up playing out largely on the feet, Kroom's not necessarily a big-time power striker, but he does put out a lot of volume. He's going to have a lot of reach here. We could see a Diaz type of death by 1,000 cuts situation. So Kevin Kroom by KO TKO at plus 650.
So by the way, now I like that too. Alatang has not shown any willingness to go to takedowns. Like it seems like he can do it, but just because you mentioned that fight, Alatang fought somebody that my cohorts, Brady and Wheezy, have mispronounced his name for weeks, and Burt MMA has set me correct. It is pronounced Dana Bakary.
Yep.
So just so we have that straightened out. My second pick is plus 600. It is Luque, round 3, round 4. I can see Muhammad having some initial success. He got knocked out the first round. He fought Luque last time. Look, just because that happened the first time does not mean it's going to happen. I think this will be a little more played out. The stakes are a lot higher on this fight than they were last time, which is it's important to me. I think there's going to be a feeling out process. I think Belal Muhammad can have some success, but I honestly just think it's a matter of time. And the round 3, round 4 is plus 600. I like that. I know the totals over 4.5 minus 150 makes me a little nervous, but no, it doesn't make me that nervous. I think Luque and Luque can finish him on the ground too, which is another thing here. It doesn't have to happen standing. So I think at some point he catches him. I like it to be a little feeling out process before it happens. So the round 3, round 4 plus 600, I'm in.
Dude, I actually love that bet. I wish I had that one.
Just send me money. I will put all the bets in for you, and we'll be out there in a couple of months in Vegas, and
true that.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love that one. That's a great bet. I might have something coming up that echoes that a little bit, but
right.
So for my third prop, we've had plus 600, plus 650. We're counting up a little bit to plus 750 on this one. Yeah. Plus 750, William Knight in round 1 by KO TKO. We already talked about that a little bit. I think that's pretty much his path to victory there. I do think William Knight carries his power later into the fight, but not as much. I think he slows down. There's a little bit less pop on his shots. He's not putting as much out there anymore. He's a guy who likes to try to get the job done early. And I think plus 750 for a guy who is, for probably the best win condition for a guy who is an underdog, but a small underdog. I think that's a pretty decent number.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that fight on my end soon too.
Nice.
By the way, that is definitely a fight that we need to see them on the scale, because this is such a weird. Like, why are they fighting at heavyweight? This is so weird.
Dude, it's weird as hell.
So my next one, I guess my next 2 have the same odds. All right, I'll go against you right now just because I have it written down. I mean, I don't love this pick, but I took Baeza round 2 KO at plus 700. I have no confidence in it. I just, one thing I look at is I like spots where guys are coming off getting knocked out and like fading them in the first round, being like, all right, because typically they have a tendency to come out all tentative because it's all of a sudden it's like, it's like that muscle memory. Like he lost to Ponzinibbio, but decision, that's fine. And I'm not convinced that he lost that fight. It was close. I'm not going to argue the decision. But he decisively lost last fight, and I don't know what he was doing on the ground going for. It was a weird fight. He didn't fight a good game plan. So hopefully, I think Fiallo will accommodate him just being on the feet. But yeah, I sort of like combining Fiallo round 1 with Baeza round 2. That's not, because if it gets to round 3, we're losers. Like we're just because now it's like a crapshoot. Then it becomes like, who's just going to throw who's going to wing a bomb and land it. It's not talent anymore, but so I'm going against you a little bit here. Sorry, man.
That's all right. Yeah.
Going against you later too, for what it's worth, but you're going to like what I'm saying later so much that it's not going to matter.
Well, and I don't even consider these picks really, they're just fun shots to throw out there. Do I think Fiallo is going to win that fight? Probably not.
My girlfriend probably cares because their rent depends on it.
But Fiallo is one of those dudes.
I kid.
Good. Fiallo is one of those dudes that, from what I've seen of him so far, I'm not really that impressed with him. I don't think super highly of him, but there's something about him that makes me think that maybe there's more to him than I'm seeing. Like, he
I
seems
know
like
what
one
it
of those
is.
guys who maybe could end up putting it all together at some point, and I just haven't seen it yet. Yeah, what's that?
He looks like Mr. Potato Head. He has a weird head, dude. Like, he looks like a creative fighter. Like, if you played like a UFC game, he's like the first guy you face. He's the Glass Joe of the game.
Love it.
Like, he just looks like he's like every generic. Like, oh, you don't have to give the guy hair. Like, when you create a fighter, nah, it's just like, what's the base model? It's Fiallo. He's the base model of a guy when you create a fighter. So that's what it is that doesn't impress you.
That may very well be it. But I think
he's no Theodoro. He's not Mr. Sexy.
not at all.
He's just a plain, lumpy guy coming home to Peg Bundy, having a bud. Nothing wrong with Budweiser, by the way. Just having a bud. Having a Stroh's fire brewed beverage.
A Stroh's. Man, I haven't had a Stroh's in a minute.
They come in the 36 pack. It comes in the beer lovers pack. We may have bought several of them in college for like $8.
Hams used to come in a 36 pack, and it was called the beer chest, if I remember correctly.
Look, before you bring up your next bet, we brought this up in our meeting today. I just want to see if you remember this, since you and I are on the older side of the community. Do you remember the Mickey's grenades?
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know if they make them anymore. If like, I don't know, but like, we were talking about that today, and like, we love it because Brady's younger. Brady's a lot younger. Like, Weezy and I are like, Monk. We're like, Brady, you know this? He's like, no, what the hell's that? And we're like, oh man. And then it's like, you realize like they're terrible because we're like, Brady, you haven't lived. And it's like, oh yeah, these really were like not good.
Yeah, he's probably lived okay.
He's and then we're like, oh, that's right. Brady's like the best of all of us. He's like the best dude. And we're like, Brady, don't drink them ever. Like, they're horrible. Like Mad Dog 2020, and like, yeah, it explains my voice. Anyway, let's move on to the.
I'm gonna throw this out there quick. There was a bar that I hung out at in college before I was old enough to go to bars. It wasn't for a long time. I don't know if they just bought like one keg or a few kegs, but they had Mickey's on tap for a little while when I was like 19 or so. Yeah. All right.
I wonder what. Oh man. All right. Never mind. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what it costs.
All right. And my next big money prop here, number 4, we're looking at plus 900. This is a crazy pick, but we'll get into it a little bit. For plus 900, you can get Brandon Jenkins by KO TKO. Because there's some weird stuff going on here, right? Close is up at like minus 800 in spots. Do I think he's going to win the fight? Sure, I do. Do I think Brandon Jenkins is good? No, I don't. Do I think Brandon Jenkins is UFC caliber? Probably not. But, and I talked about this in my full card breakdown earlier this week, that obviously Close was knocked out his last time out. Then he had that situation with Jeremy Stevens, and a lot of people are playing that down. That like, he's a professional fighter. He got pushed and he got like injured really bad. He had just cut weight. He was severely dehydrated. He got whiplash. He got like a spinal injury out of that. And I already had concerns about that. And then it came out just in the last little while here. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. It came out that, he said very openly in an interview that he has been dealing with issues related to that ever since, that he still has problems with that injury. He still has headaches, nausea, whatever else it might be. And he said that according to his doctors, he might deal with issues with that for the rest of his life. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, does that mean it's going to be easier to turn his lights out? It might, and Brandon Jenkins, if he's anything, even though, like I said, I don't think he's very good, but if he's anything, he is a dynamic finisher. He is a guy who's going to go for it. He's going to go for his flying knees. He's going to try to find those moments. And if Jakar Close is compromised to some degree, it may not be terribly unlikely that he finds that moment. So at plus 900, that's something I might not mind taking a shot at.
His first round KO is plus 2,500, just so you know that.
Okay. Yep.
I happen to look that up. I'm not including it. I'm just the epitome.
That's probably the way to go.
I'm with you on like everything you just said. Yeah, that's going to be my Saturday, by the way, with what's on the screen right now. So my next one is not exciting, but it's literally what I believe is going to happen. That's plus 700 Sabatini round 2 sub. We talked about Sabatini, like that. I think he's going to get him out of there. I feel like the only way this doesn't win is if he subs him in the first. But I think that Sabatini is going to grind him out. And again, the layoff with Laramie is is going to lead him to like eventually lead his neck open. By the way, I used to run a bar, and all I can think about now is I wonder what like a sixtel of Mickey's would cost to put on tap, and like also the look that the owner of the bar would have given me when I'm like, he'd have been like, why? And I'm like, well, we have 20. My answer would have been, well, we have 20 taps. That would have been my answer. Dude, we have 20 taps. I can have Mickey's on one tap. Do I really need like Oktoberfest? It's May, dude. Can I get rid of it and just blast it off the tap? Great. Because people come to a bar and be like, I would have a Mickey's. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, because you've never seen that before. You're gonna have it just because I've never had Mickey's on tap.
Like,
Let's have one.
like, what goes better with your shot of old granddad than a Mickey's? Like, it's just, you had an awful day. Tell Uncle Lou all about it. Here's a Mickey's. Here's an old granddad. That'll be $2.75. Like, tell me what troubles you. Because as a bartender, that's your job. You know.
There it is.
Right. I don't know if bartender to content creator is an upgrade, but it is. I'm dealing with slightly less drunks than I did at that job.
Slightly fewer anyway. Yeah, that's good. I'm moving the right direction. All right. So for number 5, we're getting close to the end here. For number 5, we're jumping all the way up.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, we're getting up fun here. So far I've had plus 600, plus 650, plus 750, plus 900. We're jumping all the way up to plus 2,200 for number 5 here.
Yes.
My plus 2,200 bet is Pannie Kianzad in round 3 by KO TKO, which is lovely.
Sexy.
Because that exact thing happened already. Sure, it was 10 years ago. But when they fought, it doesn't show it on Tapology, but if you check SureDog, it was a TKO in round 3 when Pannie Kianzad and Lena Landsberg fought 10 years ago. So I'm like, I can get plus 2,200 for an outcome that already happened once? That seems worth a shot. I might have to put a little something on that one. What do you got, Lou?
Why is she fighting, by the way?
That's a good question.
Like, I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're not making a title run at 40. I don't understand it at all. Well, all right. So since you went that route with that high odds, I'm just gonna get rid of my 1 that I had here. I had 7 written down. I didn't know. It's time, dude. I usually do it on my show. But Erik, I love you, buddy.
Love you back.
Knight Clark. Shot to the yam bags.
There it is.
Point deduction. 20-1. It's the fight. It's the outcome we deserve in this fight. It is. There's no analysis for this fight. You pick Knight round 1, by the way. Very realistic. Devin Clark decision seems realistic. A guy on a parachute landing in the ring. AKA, years ago. Dude, there's nothing right about this fight. I've never seen a better Yambags candidate for a fight with guys that aren't cheaters than this. So 20-1. I got one left, but you came at me with plus 22. I had to come at you at least. I got to be comparable. Look, dude, look at the chat. Yambags for the people.
Absolutely. I was just thinking, I wish I had, like when you listen to those dumb morning shows on the radio and they've got like the producer guy who pushes this button that's like, makes like different sounds and noises or whatever. I wish I had a yam bag button. And when I pushed it, it just like said like yam bags on the screen and played crazy music and stuff. I'm going to have to, well, you're a programmer. Throw something together for us. We need the yam bag button.
Were you a fan of Parks and Rec?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's actually what I was thinking about when I was talking about that right now.
And the douche.
Yep.
Oh, farts. Leslie Knope. Yeah, that's all I could
picture of my mom's dumper.
Actually, I went to Harvard. I'm a genius. Or like whatever he says. No, whatever Lance Crowley's like, actually, like I did my dissertation on women's studies. I'm fascinated by their suffrage. Wait, what? Yeah, show me your boobs.
All right. That brings us to our 6th and final, highly improbable. Going back through them again, plus 600, plus 650, plus 750, plus 900, plus 2,200. We're jumping up a little bit here, but not a ton. I've been talking a lot about those draw bets lately. I've made a couple draw bets lately. I think you've got one coming up probably. I actually didn't do a draw this time. I didn't want to force it, so I don't have a draw, but I do have something that kind of echoes something you brought up earlier. Plus 2,500, Vicente Luque in round 4 by sub.
Ooh.
I do like
Do tell.
Yeah, I do like him to, when you mentioned him round 3, round 4, I do like him to potentially finish somewhere around round 3, round 4, maybe even round 5. But round 4 just feels like a sweet spot to me. And if they are ending up on the ground, if Belal Muhammad is looking to use the wrestling, if he's having success with the wrestling, if they're spending time on the ground, Vicente Luque is going to be dangerous there. And of course, he's got that front choke series. He's got that Darce choke. Every time Belal comes in for a takedown, he's in trouble. He's putting his head right where he doesn't want it to be. So I think Luque by sub is definitely live here. But like you said, I like Belal to have a much better showing here. I do like this fight to probably get extended. And so I thought, as they're getting slippery, as they're getting tired, moving into round 4, Luque maybe snatches that Darce or some other front choke, or even, they're on the ground and he finds an RNC. Who knows? But yeah, Luque by sub in round 4 plus 2,500.
Oh, that's so hot. Can I give you my honorable mention before I give you the biggest one? Because
Please do.
And I won't get. I talked about this one earlier, but Ogden round 3 is plus 1,300. I'm not going to give a winning condition on this one. I think that he's, if Levitt's cardio is bad, round 3 is very live. Like his striking is bad. He could be tired on the ground. So just round 3 plus 1,300, I kind of like. So I just talked about the William Knight, Devin Clark Yambag shot. Well, what if I told you that was my lowest odds bet I made on that fight? The draw is in play.
Yes.
And it's in play for 2 reasons. Three. Number 1, again, ridiculous fight. Number 2, Devin Clark's whole MO here should be to just ground them and then never win except by a decision. Can Knight have a 10-8? Like, I mean, I feel like the only round Knight could win is a 10-8. Like, take the Grisham fight out for a second, because that was disgraceful and weird. But, like, I can't get over looking at him. Like, he can't get a 10-8. And Devin Clark had taken an insane amount. Kuriyama put so much punishment on him. Don't talk about his dad or any of that crap. Like, it's bad. So, the 10-8's in play, and the Yambags is in play. I mean, I've made
a ton of sense.
I've made worse bets this week. So, like, I don't think it's a terrible, like, I can't bet aside. Like, so to me, like, I'm just going to throw like $5-10 on the draw, $5 on the draw, and probably like whatever Slammy tells me to bet on the Yambags, and like, just be like, all right, guys, we're not rooting for a winner. We're literally not rooting for a winner. We're rooting for nobody to win. We're rooting for the fans to lose. Sorry, fans.
And kind of like you said earlier, like, that is a fight that is just so freaking weird in every way.
Doesn't make sense.
The fact that fight is happening at all, it's happening at heavyweight. Everything about that fight is freaking weird. So, like, yeah, every weird bet that you can think of is in play here. If anybody's ever going to run in with a steel chair and club the ref or something, this is the fight where it's going to happen. I mean, this is just a weird ass fight.
You saw me talking about earlier in the week on Twitter. I said, I wish Alonzo Menafield got to be the ref, since he's lost to both of them by like just shitty, greasy decision. Like, let him be the ref and be like, I don't care what you guys do. I'm not even telling you when the round's over. Like, just go do stuff.
That's great.
Oh, I gotta win. Oh man, I gotta win electronics. I gotta win a car. This is terrible.
I guess so.
But yeah, so it's a weird fight. Can I ask you a real quick question off this?
Absolutely.
I have seen a lot of people. You said you don't like to look ahead to next week. You don't like doing that.
It isn't that I don't like to. I don't think about it. I get so like hyper fixated on the card in front of me that I don't even really think to do it, basically.
So a lot of people I'm seeing like, oh, well, if you think this card's bad this week, wait to see next week. Now, I'm the kind of guy, probably like you, there's no real such thing as a bad card. There are lesser cards, but dude, we get to watch fights like on a Saturday and like have fun. Yeah, like that's how I feel. But I looked ahead at next week's card, like there are some like weirdly cool fights, and like I'm not gonna go through all of them, but even the one they just made, like Barry Alt coming off getting humiliated against Jordan Wright. I'm betting under 1 minute. Like, let's go, dude. Like, let's go. That's not an awesome, hilarious it's not a good fight, but do I want to watch it? Absolutely. Was Oleinik Vandera a good fight? Nah. Was it everything I love about watching like MMA? Absolutely.
Hell
It
yeah.
was so much fun. 3 minutes of like the second Vandera hit the ground, you're like, and like, I'm watching it. It's like, oh man, he's really, I'm trying not to curse. He's really effing him up. And, but you know where this is going. Like, why are you on the ground, you idiot? It took 2 seconds. They start throwing up. You're like, yep, that's about right. That 3 minutes went about as perfectly as I could have hoped that fight went. But yeah, there's some cool stuff next week too. Like, I'm looking forward to all this. I love these fight weekends, man. Like, and thanks for like letting me break it down with you. Like, I don't know, man. This is fun. It's work, but really it's fun.
It's just kind of hanging out. I mean, like I've said, like this is now that I've kind of become a part of this like MMA Twitter and MMA content creation community, like you and these folks, like this is my social life now. Like, yeah, is it a little bit sad to say that? Sure, but that's the truth. And so like right now, I just feel like I'm hanging out with my friend and we happen to be recording it and there happens to be people in the chat hanging out with us. That's really all it is.
I mean, we've done this like after an event. I'm like, hey man, I'm drunk. Like, you feel like hopping on, like just get on a call and talk about like nothing. And you're like, yeah,
let's do it.
I mean, that's the fun of it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think like that's the cool thing. I don't think it sounds lame at all. Like, this is what I like. This is what I care about. Like, the only thing I don't like is you have bad Saturday bets. You're like, man, I got smoked. Just, like, and then the next day you're like, all right, back to work. Like, you gotta like, and then I'm like, man, but like I don't want to like look at ESPN. I don't want to like look at any site. I don't want to look at Twitter. Like, I need like leave me alone. Like, give me the day. But then it's like Wheezy and Brady are like, yo, we're going on in a few hours. And like, back to work. So like sometimes I want like that grace period of like a day to be like, God damn it. Like, let me wallow in my, crapulence.
Yeah, and Sunday is my biggest tape study day. So it's like, but I almost always look forward to it. Like if I had a really good night, then I'm like, hell yeah, it's time to jump back in and do this again.
Of course.
If I had a really bad night, then I'm like, I'm still excited to jump into it because I'm like, well, I'm not letting that happen again. Gotta get back to work,
I know, but like, yeah, I mean, it's not a 9 to 5. It's at all. This is definitely not a 9 to 5 job. And then, and if I'm not recording content, I'm just working on code. So it's fun.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I think that's about all I got, unless you got anything else that you want to throw in. I think, I was kind of, when I first started this show, when I do them alone, they only end up like 20 minutes. So I was thinking like, even when I have a guest, we'll hopefully be under an hour, kind of quick, just get it done. I like that about it. Throw some crazy bets out there. So we got a few folks, we got 9 folks watching live. We were up to 10 a minute ago. Some of our homies are hanging out here. Maybe you all found some, big money props and parlays that you're going to put a little something on. I think, there's a few here that I'm definitely going to put a little something on. So I got some good ideas from Lou. I was able to talk through some of the ideas that I had with Lou and with some of you guys and have a little bit, enough confidence in them that I might actually bet them instead of just throwing them out there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. I think there's some fun spots, and I think some of these big money props, it's something, dude, 1 or 2 at least of the props that we gave out today are going to hit. There's going to be a few that do. So
I think 10 of them are going to hit.
10 of that's what, yeah, 10 out of 12 seems about right.
only the ones that we like. I mean, we disagreed on a few. They're going to hit. And then like, yeah, I think everything else hits. Everything else smash.
Thanks so much for coming on the show, Lou. I appreciate it. It's always fun to just hang out and talk about fights, especially talking about big money props, because that's kind of like what we like to do. Thanks
I'm not
to all of
chalky.
you.
I'm not chalky at all.
And thanks to all of you in the chat too. This is cool. This is my first time doing a live stream where I actually put it out there ahead of time and had a guest. Having like 8 to 10 viewers is that's rad. That's more than I would have expected. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and kind of what you got going on throughout the week, Lou?
So typically I would say like just like I'm on Twitter and then I have one show, but I happen to have like an insanely busy next. I don't know. I said I was going to retire from content creation and now here we are. So real quick, 2:00 tomorrow, plays and fades with Gordo Gambles and Phoenix. I'm doing a show plus weigh-in, 5:30 p.m. MMA Engine. That's our flagship show with Monk. He does DFS. You just mute me at this point. Like, I gave away most of what I'm going to give away on that show. Just listen to Monk. Although, don't mute the 10 p.m. show. I'm doing the Norco Cop, the Lambo show, where every bet has to be plus 300 or more. It's going to be Tim Troiano, Norco, and Wheezy. So, like,
that's going to be a hell of a lineup.
That's like a ridiculous show right there. I'll be doing a Saturday morning show on the MMA Engine channel. By the way, please like and subscribe to that channel. Like, we're building it, and we really do appreciate it. I'm going to be doing a little news primer. It's going to be like a 15, 20-minute show, like line movement from like open to Friday to Saturday. Like, let's see the overnights. Any last-minute news, like just real quick. Like, if you haven't gotten your bets, you want to pad stuff, like here's how things have moved, like just little considerations. And then finally, noon on John Kelly's channel Saturday, I'm on the like best bets panel. I have to make up for my Pichel round 3 decision bet that lost. I did not commit seppuku, as I told him I tried. I tried. It just didn't work. I couldn't swallow the frisbee to commit seppuku. But I will be on there at 12. And yeah, all that in the next like 36 hours.
Lots of opportunities to check Lou out. Make sure you do that. Make sure you find him on Twitter. Like you said, make sure to check out the MMA Engine, both on Twitter and on YouTube. There's going to be awesome things coming up there. I am, of course, Erik Betts Fights. You can find me at Erik Betts Fights on Twitter. Also here on YouTube.
Try it again.
Make sure that you do like and subscribe. I'm also on Instagram now, Erik_Betts_Fights. I'm old and I don't know how to use Instagram, so I'm not using it that much, but I'm going to try to start using it more. But that's enough blabbing out of us. We'll do Lou and I will do more blabbing after we get off the show here. But again, thank you so much for being here. I always end by saying play it smart, play it tight, and that kind of thing. But that's not what this show's about, gang. So we're not going to say play it smart and play it tight. We're just going to say thanks so much for being here. Have a great night, everybody, and enjoy the fights on Saturday. Take care.
Thanks, guys.